Okay, so now I have a little groove here with the hi-hats going. And I'm going to actually go ahead and show you more of an example of how we kind of throw the drums off beat a little bit, throw them off kilter, and kind of give a lazy kind of shuffle feel. Hopefully you can kind of follow along with how I'm putting these drums in. Here I have two kicks placed almost in a triplet pattern, just without the first kick of the triplet set. And you'll see how that sounds in just a second. And there you can see that the kick, it kind of sounds lazy in the mix. And that's kind of what we want for this dubstep beat. It's kind of a lazy kick drum to kind of give it a shuffle type groove. And I'll also throw in some percussive sounds here. All right, so that is our first drum pattern. And what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to copy that over the same drum pattern 1, and we're going to copy that 4 times because when you're working with dubstep and a lot of other electronic musics, you're going to want to think in 16 bars. You're going to want to think in sets of 16 bars. So we have our first drum pattern here, second drum pattern here, third, fourth. Now, what we're going to go ahead and do is take the second drum pattern here, and we're going to make this one unique by clicking here on this little icon right next to the name of the pattern. We're going to make it unique, and it's going to show the number sign and the number 2 beside it. We're going to go ahead and change that and just make it drum number 2 instead of drum 1 number 2. And we're going to also make the 4th one unique as well. And again, we're going to change that to drum 3. Actually, we're going to go ahead and make that drum 4. That way it doesn't get too confusing. Now, the first drum pattern and the third drum pattern are going to stay the same. The reason we changed the second and the fourth drum pattern is because we want to add a little bit of variety to it. We want to add a little bit of spice to the mix. So we're going to go ahead and open up the second drum pattern and make it a little bit different. So maybe change a few kicks here. So I've changed up the kick pattern a little bit here. And I'm also going to take out this percussion here and rearrange and go ahead and add a different kind of percussion in there. Maybe this cowbell here. Let's see, I'll go ahead and put it. And I'm also going to change up the hats here a little bit. Since I've got more going on with the percussion that I've added, I'm going to go ahead and make the hats a little less, going to make them a little less of a, I'm going to make them a little bit less complicated, is what I mean to say. So I've taken out the doubles there. And I'm going to go ahead and put some of these hats right here on the offbeat. And let's take a listen to that. Okay, so let's listen to it now with the first pattern unchanged and the second pattern altered a little bit. So. Okay, so we added a little bit of a variety to it, and it kind of gives it a little bit more progression to the sound. And we can also do the same thing for drum pattern 4, kind of find a nice groove that you like. I'm not going to do one here for this tutorial, simply because I think it's more fun if you explore it yourself and kind of find out what works for you. You do the same thing I did for drum pattern number 2. Add in some changes to your different loops. Remember that if you have a complicated hat loop, you can always take that, make it more simplistic, add in more percussion just to change things up, or the opposite is true. You can also do it that way. You could also bring the kicks down, not put as many kicks in, and all these. There's so many different ways that you can actually play with the groove, especially in dubstep. There's a lot of different things you can do. You'll generally want to spend a good bit of time working on your drums, kind of tweak them. You'll want to fine tune them as much as possible. It's also a good idea if you want to have like lasers and different bleeps and bloops. Instead of having the percussion sounds that I have here, like the cowbells and everything, you might want to place in your lasers or whatnot in the way I have the percussion here, and then go ahead and add them in to your drum loops, and that way you actually have those sounds in the foundation of the song, which can be helpful when you get into the longer scheme of things. So I said I wasn't going to do a drum pattern for the last bar here, but I changed my mind, So before we leave this tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and play the beat that I have so far. Kind of simple. You'll want to go through and make sure you tweak and tighten everything. It's kind of simplistic, but it works. Hopefully you'll come up with something probably better. And that will be the foundation for the rest of the dubstep tutorial. So thank you very much for watching. Well, it's a little bit simplistic, but you'll want to tighten and tweak your drum pattern and make a good foundation for the rest of the dubstep tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Casey Diovin, and stay tuned for the rest of the dubstep tutorial in Fruity Loops.